Mhm.
Anyway, so
I'm so tired today. A couple of days ago, I was up all night. I was on the computer all night. I didn't even sleep till 10 a.m. to 12 something p.m. So I only had like about 2.5 hours of sleep, and I stayed up for for I don't know how many hours, but I didn't sleep at all that day, that night. But today I'm tired. As you can tell, I can't even talk. I keep yawning, but I haven't even ate my dinner. I'm not even that hungry. There's times I can't eat when it's hot. When it's really hot, I can't really eat for whatever reason. I've been like this even before I had the panic attacks. There's days that I can eat a lot, and then there are days that I can't eat at all. And then I want to talk about sensory overload. Sensory overload is meaning your brain can't handle too much things. My sensory overload, I didn't get sensory overload till I started having a panic disorder. It has gotten a lot better, I would say. Just doing the things that I couldn't do before when I started having a panic disorder has really helped me. Like not just going for me going to walks, the also decrease my panic attacks. Even though I'm not always going out like anywhere too far. Even if I'm going for 5 minutes, it helps. It just helps me get away from my mind, if that makes sense. It's like I'm going for a walk. I'm not thinking about my panic attacks. Where I'm at home sitting down, laying down, then that's when I'm thinking about my panic attacks. When it's like when I'm outside now, my mind is just being on outside. If I'm going to the store, my mind is just set on going to the store. If I'm driving, my mind is setting on going for a drive. It's like I'm paying attention to what I'm seeing, what I'm in front of me, and stuff like that. And not so much as what's going on in my mind. But as far as sensory overload, what I mean by sensory overload is like your brain can't process too much. For example, when it's sunny, and you don't have a panic disorder or you don't have sensory overload, you can handle the sun. With those that have a panic disorder and you have a sensory overload to like whatever it is, everyone's different. Some of us, when I started having panic disorder, in 2016, when it was spring, spring where I am is hot. The sun is out for up to almost like 9 p.m. at times, and then as soon as I wake up, if I wake up at like 6 a.m., 7 a.m., the sun is right in front of my face, and there's times I can't even handle the sun. It feels so bright that I had to wear a beanie at night in the middle of spring, and sometimes I even wear a hoodie. When I wear a hoodie, it's because it's like I'm blocking the sunlight in my face. Like I can't. That's why when it's sunny right now, I'm okay. But before I had to wear a beanie, I wear the beanie and just cover my eyes. So when I'm awake, and I open my eyes, the sun is not in my face. And then I use the hoodie as well. Anything I can do just to block the sun. Sometimes I even use the blanket. I cover my back and I'm facing the wall. So when I'm facing the wall with the beanie and my hoodie and the blanket, like blocking the sun, because I couldn't handle the bright sunlight. And then there's times I can't even handle noise. Like if there's too much noise going on, like if I'm in my room and I hear people talking, my family's talking, I hear my neighbors talking, I'm watching TV, I hear the TV, I hear my family watching TV, I hear cars driving by, people walking around, talking, dogs barking, birds chirping, things like that. I don't care, and for some reason it seems like it's too much for my brain to process. It's like I'm paying attention to what one one person's telling me, one person's talking to the other person, then my mind switches over to trying to listen to what someone else is talking about, and then I'm trying to watch TV at the same time. Then I'm paying attention to like cars driving by, listening to the cars and motorcycle, whatever it is, like dogs barking. It's like my brain is like trying to tell me to listen to this, listen to that, listen to this, hear this, hear that. And I think the reason it got worse is because the longer I stay home in my room, I avoided doing things like, being around people, which also gave me social anxiety, which also gave me the sensory overload to whatever I used to be able to do. Just go outside. I can hear a bunch of noise. Like where I used to work, we have equipment that we use that gets pretty noisy. And, I used to go home and I can still hear the buzzing sound from work and all the equipment, And other things like, I live about 15-20 minutes from the airport, but the airplane flies right above, and sometimes I can hear every 5-10 minutes. That used to bother me when I started having a panic disorder. Little noise here and there would bother me. Now I'm outside, I'm like, whatever. If I hear noise, I hear noise now. It's like back to the way I used to be. But an example today, my neighbors that live behind us, they were in the backyard, just having a good time. When I started having panic disorder, I couldn't handle the noise. And it's like my brain is like telling me it's too much to handle. Go to sleep. If I hear too much noise, I try to sleep. I even had to sleep with my headphones on. Not that I'm listening to anything. I'm trying to block out the noise. And it's funny because I also picked up not just the sensory overload. My ears I can hear a lot better. My sense of smell got a lot better. My taste buds got different. Like, there's things that if I look at it, my tongue just takes like one little taste, I know I don't want to eat it. Things like that. The other thing with the sensory overload, if it's too cloudy, it feels like it's too cloudy. If it's too sunny, it feels like it's too sunny. If it's too cold, it feels like it's too cold. Sometimes my clothes feel like it's too tight on me. If I'm wearing a hat, sometimes my hat feels like it's too tight. I loosen it up and it still feels too tight. Wearing my shoes, it feels like my shoes was too tight for me, and things like that. And sometimes when I'm walking down like my narrow hallway, it feels like the hallway is getting too close. It's like I feel like I'm trapped where the hallway is. Like, the walls are coming in close and it's gonna crush me, things like that. When I'm taking a shower, it feels like I'm either using hot water, too hot, too cold. It's not, it's not the perfect, if that makes sense. It's like the water doesn't feel like it's perfect, and then I try to use it. I try to like cool off the water so it won't be so hot, and then it feels too cold. And then when you use some more hot water, it feels like it's too hot. It's like any little thing will give me some kind of sensory overload. The other thing is, I remember when I was like just sitting in my room one day and I was watching TV, and then I was just watching like sports. Like I watch football all the time. What I was watching, it was like halftime show, not really halftime show, but it's like halftime where they're just giving you updates. And then I had a panic attack, and I was like, what, now I can't watch TV. It seems like the TV was like too much for my mind. It's like too much of something. It seems like it was just driving my brain, like my brain couldn't handle, too much things my brain has to process. If I see bright lights, bright colors, with like bright blue, orange, whatever color is bright, it hurts my eye for whatever reason. If I'm walking around in my neighborhood, I see one house that has green grass and the other's like brown grass that's dying, then my mind is like telling me there's something wrong. And then I'm trying to tell myself, it's just one grass is green, one is brown, one house has nicer grass, and the other house has grass that's dying. But some reason my brain is telling me there's something else wrong, you know. But like I said, right now my sensory overload has got a lot better. You know, before when it got really bad, if I hear one little noise when I'm sleeping, like someone drops something, instantly I wake up in my mind. It's like it's too noisy, and it could be someone dropping a pen, and my brain's telling me it's too noisy, and I can't go back to sleep. You know, like earlier a couple hours ago, I was taking a nap, and my neighbors behind me, they were in the backyard, you know, in the swimming pool and talking and just having a good time, which everyone should be able to have a good time. But I was able to sleep through it. You know, before when my sensory overload got so bad, I couldn't even sleep if I turned on the TV. It took me a long time to fall asleep. You know, the other thing with sensory overload, if I go to a store, you know, last year this time when I was going to the store, I see too much things, too much people, too much bright colors, too much things, too much of my eyes can't handle seeing too much movement, my nose couldn't handle too much smell, my ears couldn't handle too much noise. You know, now I'm like whatever, you know. Now I'm like back to how I was where noise didn't bother me, you know. That's the and now whatever I'm looking at, it doesn't bother me. If I see too much things, it doesn't bother me, anything like that. So when I'm going for walks, no matter how far I go, how long I go, it's not just to overcome my panic attacks, it's to also help me go back to having less sensory overload. You know, just allow my brain to feel the outside world. You know, to smell the outside world, to smell whatever smells outside, good or bad, to listen to the noise around me, to see the things I'm seeing. You know, to touch the floor, to touch the ground, even though I'm wearing shoes. You know, things like that. But yes, that's what my sensory overload was. Is, you know, just bright colors. You know, I couldn't handle too much noise, even if it's not that much colors. If there's like, if I'm looking at something, it's like a different shade of, let's say, white. Like white, there's cream, there's like different color white. You know, my sensory overload start driving me crazy. It would say everything looks white, but how come one looks brighter white than the other? One looks like a yellow, and then I start wondering, why am I paying so much attention to whatever color it is? If it's white, it's white. You know, it's like my socks. If I was looking at my socks and they're both the same pair, and those are the only colors I have are the same color. Like let's say if it's gray socks or something, and that's the only gray pair of socks I have, and then I look, one could be more faded than the other, and then my mind is like, why is that? You know, that's part of my OCD as well. But you know, the sensory overload, I think, it also comes down with the OCD. It kind of messes with each other. But like I said, the sensory overload is not as bad as it used to be. You know, it's slowly getting back to the way it used to be, where I didn't have any sensory overload, where noise and not too much things used to bother me. You know, people being negative towards me or negative to other, it didn't really bother me. I Back then my mind would just block off the negativity because it doesn't bother me, and now it's starting to be like that again, where I don't really get bothered by things. But anyways, I'm about to head back home and eat my dinner. See, like right now the sun is like right in my face. I can actually look at it. Before, I would have to cover my eyes. I wouldn't even be outside. I felt less anxiety at night when the sun wasn't out. If it was cloudy, I still felt anxiety because I can still kind of see the sun shining through. But if it's dark, I can't really see it. I'm fine. And before, I wouldn't even turn on the lamp in my room because the little lamp I have seems like it was too bright. Everything seemed like it was too bright. Even a little flashlight was too bright for me. So I would be in the dark, eating and stuff.